as the function f of x, y, okay, the function of two variables. We're gonna find all order pairs in the form of x comma y, where the partial derivative of the z with respect to x equals 0, and the partial derivative of the z with respect to y equals 0. So this is a process of finding the critical value that what we're gonna see in the next section, okay? Let's get you ready. The problem asks you to find what are order pairs in the form of x comma y that will make the first partial derivative with respect to x and with respect to y to be 0. What we're going to do, first we're going to have to find, number one, we're going to find the partial derivative with respect to x and the partial derivative with respect to y. Okay, so that's the first task. And then what we have to do next, we're going to have to let each to be 0 and then solve for x and y. Now I'm gonna make a list of the plan here. Number 2, solve for x, y, where partial derivative equals 0. We have to solve simultaneously, so that means we're gonna solve the system of equation. Okay, and then put them together as order pair. Okay, let's work on this one. Let's get the first task going. So we're gonna, from the z, you can use notation f if you want. So for the partial with respect to x, or the partial derivative with respect to x of the quantity x squared plus xy plus y squared minus 7x minus 8y plus 1. Your goal is to find the derivative with respect to x. Where is x? X right here, x right here, x right here. You're gonna see y as the constant term. Even though like x multiplied by y, so this one, we're gonna treat it as the coefficient. Like x multiplied by the number 2, number 3, something like that. So we just see y as a number, okay? And then also this one as a constant. So constant term here, and constant term here, and the constant term here. So basically, you're gonna have to find the derivative of the term that has x in there. So the first one, the derivative gonna be 2x. Second term, think about the derivative of 2 times x, gonna be 2, right? But we don't see 2, we see as a y. So the derivative of xy with respect to x can be just y. And then, or you can see it as x multiplied by y. So when you find the derivative of the x is 1 and y as a coefficient. So it stays where it is. So that's why it becomes 1 times y or just y. The next term, derivative of y squared with respect to x can be 0 because we see y as a constant term. The next can be negative 7. Back to the same derivative rule. The next term going to be 0. The next term going to be 0. And then finally, we just get 2x plus y minus 7 as the first partial derivative of the z with respect to x. Okay, so that's the first part of the plan one, the first step. And then the next part, we're going to find the partial derivative with respect to y, or the partial with respect to y of x squared plus xy plus y squared minus 7x minus 8y plus 1. This time we focus on the y. Where is the y? The y right here, the y right there, the y right here. So we're going to treat x as the constant. Okay. So this time, this is the constant term, and this treat as the coefficient, constant coefficient. So this one is the constant, and this one is the constant. So the derivative, the first term, going to be 0. Second term going to be the derivative of the x times y, or the coefficient times the y term, or just the x. The next term going to be 2y. Next going to be 0. Next going to be minus 8. And then next going to be 0. So clean up to have the derivative as x plus 2y minus 8. We get the first partial derivative. The next, we are going to solve for x and y by letting each one be 0. So this is step number 1. And step number 2, we're going to do the partial c with respect to x equals 0, partial c with respect to y equals 0. So we will get too many curly brackets here. So then we're going to get the first one as the 2x plus y minus 7 equals 0. And the second one is x plus 2y minus 8 equals 0. It's called the system of two equations. And then we're going to solve for x and y. Okay. How do we solve the x and y? There are many ways to solve for x and y. One of them is called the substitution method. And then the second one is called the elimination method. Are you guys familiar with this? The elimination means you make the coefficient to be the same but opposite sign, and then eliminate them by adding the two equations. Another way, the first way, which is called the substitution, you solve one variable into another term. For example, it might be less complicated if you prefer to go with the substitution. So for example, the first one here, if you solve for y, it's easier to solve for y if you pick the first equation. You have y equals negative 2x plus 7, okay? And then you're going to substitute y into the second equation. Now, you're going to have x plus 2 times the quantity negative 2x plus 7 minus 8 equals 0. Right now, you have the equation involving x. This step, we're going to solve for x. Okay, because y is already gone at the moment. To solve for x, just expand all out. You have x minus 4x plus 14 minus 8 equals 0. To get negative 3x, this one 14 minus 8, that is positive 6 equals 0. Therefore, we get 3x, negative 3x equals negative 6, or x equals positive 2. Okay, one number out, so we get x. Now we're going to use 2 to find y. How do we find y? So see, we're going to go back to the beginning of the cycle. We identify y in terms of x. Now we know the x value. Therefore, we have the y equals negative 2 times the number 2 plus 7, which is negative 4 plus 7, or is that right? Positive 3. Yep, we get y equals positive 3. Now we are done. So we get the order pair x comma y equals the order pair 2 comma 3.